Hello, hello. So, General Meng Tian. So that name is the name of the person who created the Great Wall of China, BC. So the Great Wall of China is that old, but not only did he create that, he also is noted for building many roads and also created or updated the calligraphy brush or the paintbrush that is most commonly used for calligraphy still today in China, and they are all still made in that way. So he built the Great Wall of China, improved or invented a better improvement of the calligraphy brush, and built many roads around China, and served as emperor, etc. But did you know that then he also was forced to commit suicide through political reasons and being falsely accused of well, we'll get to that in a sec anyway. So today is Moon 2, where are we? Day 9. So, but today is the 27th of March. I lose track of time. But there we go. So I'm going to have a look at it in here. And it is the 27th of March, Friday the 27th of March, 2026. But it is, according to the Chinese astrology lunar cycles, it is Moon 2, Day 9. So my name's Ollie, this is Reds on Horizons. I'm an Eastern physiotherapist practitioner from the south of England, that's Southsea, Portsmouth, UK. Practicing Tai Chi and teaching Dao Yin and practicing acupuncture, acupressure and Taoist stones, etc. So today is effectively there's no real actual sort of dedicated thing for today. It's one of those days that doesn't really have a specific deity or god or tradition in Taoist history. So the writer of this book, this is still what we're using as a prompt, which is the Lunar Tao by Meng Dao. Still available. Loads more information in here than what I actually read out, but this is one of the days where I'm going to read a bit more than I would normally, just because there's a lot, effectively. Okay, so Meng Dao is the writer, obviously, and I think the way they write is very poetic, and I love the stuff they put at the beginnings and the ends of each page. Okay, so General Meng Tian, that's M-E-N-G, so it would generally be Meng, wouldn't really be so much Meng, but Meng Tian, and served the Qin Shi Huang dynasty, Qin Shi Huang Emperor, and this is 210 BCE. So he was descended from a line of warriors and military architects. So his father and grandfather had also been generals, and Meng commanded an army of 300,000 men against the Xiangnu. It's a really bad script, but they put this black thing in the background, so hard to read. Against an army, he commanded an army of 300,000 men against the Xiongnu nomads who constantly threatened to invade China. When Qin Shi Huang wanted the Great Wall of China built, he ordered Meng Tian to head the project. Okay, so Meng Tian was accomplished in other ways as well. He improved the writing brush, and he was also a road builder, constructing a network of roads to expand both commerce and international exchange. Okay, so Qin Shi Huang, the person he served at the time, died effectively whilst traveling on a road that Meng Tian had built for the emperor's personal tour and the empire. So effectively, this is the main part of the story. I'm trying to think of the word, but the conspiracy itself. Okay, so the emperor was on a personal tour of the empire when he died, but there was a eunuch called Zhao Gao and the chancellor at the time called Li Si. They both conspired to hide that death and accused both the designer, the designated heir, and Meng Tian of treason. So basically, the designated heir that would have taken over the throne, they accused him of treason to get him out of the way, and they accused Meng Tian of treason because he was a general and they feared him moving up to take over the Chancellor position. So basically, obviously, the Emperor died on the road that he made, so that was probably the leverage they used. And there you go. So and then effectively they gave so the new emperor that took over gave Meng Tian the ability to had the honor of committing suicide. And despite protesting and all that kind of stuff, eventually he ended up just drinking the poison because there was no other way. So yeah, there is another thing in the history of communism. Not to say it's just communism, but obviously the more and more the days I'm going through these things, and especially looking at things like passages from the Tao Te Ching, the way they are talking about politics of the time, it's all the stuff that's coming back in now. It's coming into the UK, and we are seeing all of those kind of dissonance and the lack of any kind of real consultation of the general public. The complete disregard of the general public's wants, needs, or even opinions. So, you know, democracy has officially died, but democracy, I think, was always an illusion of choice anyway. But we will get to a little passage from the Tao Te Ching. So, this part is particularly written by Deng Ming Dao themselves. So, so going back to yesterday's one, greater than shame, the person who was castrated rather than commit suicide and all this kind of stuff, again, for similar sort of things. The story or the poem that carries through is, what is your work? What do you leave behind? Do you choose slashing sword or freeing brush? Why not put both aside and begin at the bottom, climb a mountain path? So, how many tourists on the Great Wall ever stopped to consider the fate of the general who was ordered to build it? So, so we still reference him late, obviously this much later, but nobody really references the emperor or the other people who, you know. So when General Meng Tian was ordered to commit suicide, he said to his family. So he said that his family had loyally served the dynasty for 3 generations. As the head of 300,000 troops, he could have ordered a revolt. So he could have overthrown the emperor, or overthrown the people who accused him. He had that position, he had that power. He did not do so because he could not bear to disgrace his ancestors or forget his debt to the late emperor. He was not trying to avoid death, he said, but to make a remonstrance so that the emperor would return to the way. So the current emperor would return to the way, would return to the Tao, etc. When the envoy demanded that the decree be carried out, Meng Tian decided that in building the Great Wall, he had cut the arteries of the earth, and for that he had to atone. He then swallowed the poison. So, in building the Great Wall, he separated Mongolia from the rest of China. And he decided that his suicide would be to atone for that, not because of any order or, you know, fast that was brought about against his name. Okay. So we ask what we should do in this life, and we ask what we should leave behind. Do we choose the path of power and at the expense of others' lives, or do we choose the path of obscurity and thereby preserve lives? Meng Tian wielded both the sword as a general and the brush as an architect. He chose the sword. So effectively, he chose to fight by dying on his own grounds and not kowtowing to others' requirements or etc. Okay, so that is everything from that book. I'm just going to read one passage from the Tao Te Ching. So, true words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing. By not dominating, the master leads. Okay, so little bit of a contradiction to kind of what Meng did, but at the same time in alliance with what he did. So that is pretty much everything today. That is bang on 10 minutes. So tomorrow's is, well, tomorrow will be the 10th day of Moon 2, and talking about the inner landscapes, going back to a bit more sort of inner work. That is everything for today. I will see you tomorrow.